there's this whole other realm where storytelling rocks. And it's actually both stories and a cousin of stories, which is analogies. So you can use an experience that you have as an analogy, or you can actually use an object or a situation as an analogy. I'll give you an example of the latter. So it was so funny because a friend of mine who knows I'm really into storytelling, etc., said, I just heard something really interesting about iPhones, and I bet you're going to figure out a way to turn this into a metaphor. And so it's like, okay, tell me. She said that I just heard that something like 2/3 of the people who are trying to update the operating system on their iPhones cannot, because the memory is overloaded with all the apps and other stuff that they've got on their iPhone. And I found myself thinking a couple of different things. What a perfect metaphor for if we've got so much going on inside our heads and we never stop to get those intuitive downloads. Or what a perfect metaphor if, in a more literal sense, if we're always on our iPhone or whatever your phone is or iPad and we never have disconnect time, quiet time, we're never going to be able to connect up with the muse. And so I share that with you, both the lesson inherent in it, but also one of the things that's so fun about storytelling and metaphors is it makes everyday life really fascinating because you hear things from a whole different angle. It's not just what people say, but it's like, oh, that's a cool metaphor for such and such. That's a cool metaphor for such and such. And with that in mind, I want to end off with an example of an experience that my hope is the actual story itself is useful in your entrepreneurial endeavors. And also, it's an example of being heads up for everyday life has the opportunity of providing us with useful stories.